There's a power most men never master, not because it's hidden, but because it's quiet. Patience. The ability to wait without weakening, to plan without panicking, to prepare while others rush. In a world addicted to instant results, the man who waits wins. Why? Because patience lets you observe longer, think deeper, and strike with precision when the time is right. How do you build that kind of strength? It starts with silence and ends with victory that looks effortless. In a few moments, I'll teach you how patience can become your sharpest weapon to wait, strike, and win smart. Power is born in silence, not in noise. You've been taught that loud effort means progress, that if people don't see your struggle, it doesn't count. But this is false. The greatest victories were built in silence, where no one clapped, no one watched, and no one believed. You grow strongest when no one's watching. Because in silence, you're not distracted. You're not reacting. You're designing. You're becoming. Why do some men fall while others rise in the same soil? The answer is patience. The seed doesn't scream when buried. It waits quietly until it breaks the ground with force. You must learn to wait, not lazily, but purposefully. Waiting is not weakness. It is precision. While others rush, you prepare. While they announce, you plan. And when it's time, you move. And they wonder how you did it so suddenly. Picture this: a blacksmith in a quiet forge. No crowd, just sparks, sweat, and steel. He hammers each blow with patience. Then one day, a sword is finished, and everyone sees a masterpiece. But only he knows how long it took. Have you confused visibility with progress? Are you chasing noise instead of building strength? What you build in silence is what lasts when the noise fades. Your delayed reaction is your greatest weapon. You don't win by reacting fast. You win by responding right. A lion doesn't leap at every sound. It waits, studies, stalks, then strikes. Most men live in reaction. Something happens, they panic, they respond, they shout, but not you. You will learn the art of delayed power. You will hold your energy, not because you're weak, but because you're calculating. The longer you observe, the clearer your target. The slower your breath, the sharper your blade. When you finally act, it isn't emotional. It is final. Why does patience give you power? Because the world expects haste. They expect you to flinch, to reply, to fight back, but you confuse them. You smile, you listen, you wait. And then when the opening appears, you act with such certainty it leaves them stunned. Imagine you're in a room of loud men, each fighting to be heard. You sit back, you say nothing, and then, at the right moment, you speak. One sentence. That silences the entire room. When you don't react, you force others to reveal themselves. When you wait, they grow careless. And that is when you win. So ask yourself, are you reacting or are you studying? The man who waits watches the world move in his favor. Everything you want is already in motion. Success is moving, love is moving, wealth is moving, respect is moving. But not everything is moving toward you. And here's the trap. If you begin chasing everything that passes by, you might end up further from it than when you started. You must understand this principle. Movement without purpose is noise, but stillness with preparation is power. The world doesn't reward the man who runs wild after every spark. It rewards the man who burns quietly, who prepares with patience, who becomes a magnet for what truly belongs to him. Impatience is the mark of the uncertain man. He sees something beautiful and believes he must seize it immediately or lose it forever. But nothing truly valuable is rushed. A mango pulled too early from the tree is sour. A man who rushes into greatness without readiness ends up crushed under the weight of it. The world doesn't ignore you because you're still. It studies you. It watches to see why you are still. Is your stillness fear, or is it rootedness? Is your silence weakness, or is it wisdom? When you prepare with quiet strength, life takes notice. It rearranges circumstances. It clears paths, not for those who run, but for those who are ready. This is not passivity. This is magnetic patience. You are not avoiding the race. You are sharpening your blade before the battle. You are building your foundation before the storm. And when the opportunity comes, it will not require chasing. It will land in your palm like fruit dropping from the tree because you waited until it was ripe. Why does patience attract power? Because the universe respects discipline, and patience is discipline, disguised as stillness. It's the art of preparation when others are distracted. It's the strength to wait without wasting time, to grow without needing applause, to become more even when no one sees. Think of the mountain climber. He does not sprint to the peak. He studies the terrain. He prepares his body. He respects the mountain. While others rush forward and exhaust themselves halfway, he conserves energy. He climbs with rhythm, not emotion. And when he finally reaches the summit, he doesn't just arrive, he remains. That's what patience builds in you: endurance, longevity, power that doesn't collapse. While the impatient man burns bright and fades fast, the prepared man shines steadily for years. Ask yourself, are you trying to force life to move on your timing, or are you becoming the man who deserves what he desires? Are you rushing into relationships, careers, and goals that haven't matured yet? Or are you learning, building, growing, so that when the right thing arrives, you're ready to hold it? Patience isn't weakness, it's wisdom in motion. It's a man standing in place, but advancing within. Each day he learns, each day he strengthens his mind, each day he becomes more valuable, until the world itself begins to notice his weight, his gravity. And when that moment comes, he doesn't need to chase. He doesn't need to beg. The world brings him what he has earned. So stand still, not with idleness, but with intention. Let the world come to a man who has made himself ready. The man who masters timing masters everything. Power is not in motion. It is in timed motion. It is not in doing something right now, but in knowing exactly when to do it. A man who acts too soon finds the ground unready. His bridge crumbles under weight that time could have strengthened. A man who acts too late watches the opportunity vanish like a train he was too slow to catch. But the man who acts with perfect timing, he doesn't just succeed, he reshapes the world around him. Timing is the hidden weapon of the wise. It isn't loud, it isn't flashy, but it determines everything. You see, most men confuse movement with progress. They run, not because they are sure of the direction, but because they are afraid to stand still, afraid of being left behind, afraid of being unseen. But you are not most men. You are learning to sense the season. You are learning that not all moments are equal. That action, when taken too early, becomes chaos, and action taken too late becomes regret. True power lies not in speed, but in synchronization, in aligning your step with the right hour. Why is timing more powerful than action itself? Because most men act from fear. They act because they're nervous, because they see someone else moving and think they must follow. They feel pressure. They fear missing out. But fear-based action is never strategic. It's survival. And survival will not lead you to greatness. You must become like the farmer. The wise farmer doesn't scatter seeds in the snow. He doesn't rush out in spring with a sickle, desperate to harvest what hasn't even bloomed. He watches. He studies the soil. He tracks the clouds. He knows when to wait and when to work. And because he respects timing, he reaps more with less effort. The seasons are not something he controls, but his response to them is, and that's where his power lies. You are no different. Life has its seasons. There's a time to speak and a time to stay silent, a time to build and a time to demolish, a time to advance and a time to wait. If you rush the process, you ruin the result. But if you train your instincts, if you master patience, observation, and awareness, you will act at the exact moment that guarantees the outcome. Timing requires discipline. It requires trust in your preparation. It asks you to observe instead of panic, to plan instead of react. The man who moves on time doesn't need to force doors open. They swing wide because he has arrived in alignment with purpose. Now ask yourself this: have you been acting out of panic, or have you been acting out of purpose? Have you launched too soon, spoken too early, forced things before they were ready? Or have you trained yourself to wait, not with laziness, but with strategy? The man who controls his timing never begs for results. He commands them, not because he's louder, not because he's luckier, but because he knows something most do not. Everything comes to the man who waits for his moment and then strikes without hesitation. This is not about being slow. It's about being prepared. You are not delaying life. You are building strength, building clarity, sharpening your tools, so that when the right door opens, you don't hesitate. You enter fully prepared. You will become the man who senses the shift in the air, who knows when the tide is turning, who listens to the rhythm of life and moves in harmony with it. That is when power becomes effortless. That is when you stop chasing and start arriving. Train yourself to know the season. The clock of destiny does not tick loudly, but it ticks for the man who listens. And when your moment comes, you will know, and you will move, and the world will respond. Quiet preparation makes loud victory inevitable. Victory is not earned on the battlefield. It is claimed long before the first blow is struck. It belongs to the man who is already prepared. The war is merely a formality when the real battle has been fought in silence, in the shadows, through disciplined and deliberate effort when no one was watching. You do not sharpen your sword during the fight. You sharpen it before. You prepare in the quiet hours when everyone else is sleeping, when no one is clapping. No audience, no spotlight, just you, your mission, and the steady grind of self-mastery. That's where your edge is carved. That's where your advantage is born. While others are loud with intention, you are quiet with preparation, and in time the difference becomes undeniable. You don't win because you shout louder. You win because your sword was ready before theirs was even drawn. You win because your reflexes were trained. Your mind was clear. Your muscles were prepared for war, not on the day of, but from the hundreds of days before. Why does quiet preparation matter? Because the world celebrates performance, but it forgets the rehearsal. It sees the victory, but rarely asks how it was built. But you understand what most miss. You know that public power is only possible through private preparation. The more you sweat in practice, the less you bleed in conflict. The man who trains in silence is never caught off guard. He doesn't rely on luck or adrenaline. He relies on the certainty that comes from readiness. He doesn't panic. He doesn't flinch. He has already faced the situation in his mind, his body, and his heart, again and again. Imagine a boxer, not a famous one, not one with endorsements or cameras following him, just a man in a dim basement, training alone. For 5 years he sweats, he spars, he studies tapes, he perfects his stance, he sharpens his timing. While others talk, he toils. Then the day comes. He steps into the ring, not to try, but to execute, and he dominates. Not because of what he did that day, but because of every single day before it. The real fight was never in the arena. It was in the dark hours when he was overlooked, underestimated, and unknown. That's the kind of preparation that builds unshakable confidence, not arrogance, not noise, but the quiet certainty that says, I have paid the price. So I ask you now, are you preparing like you mean it, or are you waiting for life to surprise you? Because life will test you, whether you're ready or not. It will present the opportunity, the challenge, the crisis. And if you haven't trained, you will panic. You will scramble. You will lose. But if you've prepared, you will respond, not react. You will move with clarity. You will act with control. Because your mind was conditioned, your soul was fortified, and your strength was stored in silence. Preparation is not wasted. It is not invisible. It is stored power. And when the moment comes, it will speak for you. You won't need to announce it. You won't need to prove it. Your presence will say everything. Your actions will be clean. Your results will be sharp, because you prepared when no one was watching. That is the way of the warrior. Do not wait until the opportunity appears to begin training. That is too late. Prepare now. Prepare daily. Build yourself in private so the world cannot shake you in public. Remember, the battle is not won on the day of the fight. It is won in the still hours of preparation, in the sacrifices no one sees, in the effort no one praises. When the world calls on you, you will not rise to the occasion. You will rise to the level of your preparation. You build reputation in patience and destroy it in impulse. Your reputation is your shadow. It follows you everywhere, whether you're aware of it or not. It speaks before you enter the room. It lingers long after you've left. And it is shaped not by your victories, not by your declarations, but by the small, silent moments when no one is applauding. By how you hold yourself, not just how you promote yourself. One careless word, one reckless reaction, one eruption of pride or anger. That's all it takes to undo a year's worth of patience, discipline, and grace. Your name is not built in a day, but it can be broken in a moment. This is why true strength lies in restraint. Not silence out of fear, but silence out of strategy. Not inaction because you are uncertain, but deliberate stillness because you are wise. People do not trust the loudest voice. They trust the calmest presence. The man who pauses before speaking, the man who listens with intention, the man who weighs his words, not because he is timid, but because he knows his words have weight. Power is never in proving a point. It's in holding your dignity above the need to be right in every moment. Why does patience protect your name? Because when you delay action, you invite wisdom. You allow emotion to settle. You give your soul time to weigh the consequences. Patience is not avoidance. It is leadership over your lower nature. It is command over your impulses. And that control becomes visible to others. It radiates. It earns trust. It earns respect. But when you rush, when you act from anger, from fear, from ego, you hand the steering wheel over to emotion, and emotion is a terrible driver. It crashes reputations. It burns bridges. It builds a name no one relies on for long. Picture a man in court, falsely accused of a crime he did not commit. The room is full, the air is thick with judgment. Whispers fill the hall. All eyes are on him, not to hear his case, but to see his reaction. Will he explode? Will he break? Will he confirm their suspicions with a single outburst? But he stands still, calm, measured. His voice, when he finally speaks, is low but certain. His face shows pain but not panic. Not because he is weak, but because his strength lies in restraint. He knows that in this moment, how he behaves says more than any speech could. And slowly, even the doubters begin to believe him, not because of his defense, but because of his discipline. This is the power of reputation built through patience. Your name is not what you say it is. It's what others whisper when you're not there. And that name is built moment by moment with every choice, every reaction, every pause when your ego screams to speak, every deep breath when the world tempts you to lash out. What kind of name are you building? Are you the man who guards his words like precious coins, or the one who spends them carelessly and hopes to repair the damage later? You treat your silence as a weapon of strength or as an absence of control. A man who guards his name like treasure lives rich in trust, in power, in influence, because others know when he speaks, it matters. When he acts, it is thoughtful. When he's silent, it is not weakness, it is calculation. The world will always try to provoke you. It will poke your pride. It will misjudge you. It will pressure you to react. But your discipline is your defense. Your restraint is your strategy. Remember, reputation is not a banner you wave, it is a foundation you build. And every quiet decision, every patient response, every dignified silence lays another stone. So guard your name. Guard it like treasure, because once it's lost, it's not easily reclaimed. But when it's protected, it becomes your most powerful currency. Let your name be your fortress. Let your shadow walk before you with honor. And let the world learn that the man who speaks last speaks loudest. Every delay is an invitation to go deeper, not give up. Most men misunderstand delay. To them, it feels like rejection, like life has said no. They whisper to themselves, "It didn't happen, so it must never happen." And in that moment of doubt, they stop moving. They give up on the goal. They lower their standard. But you must be different. You must train your mind to see delay not as denial, but as direction. Delay does not mean the door is closed. It means you are not yet ready to walk through it. Delay says, not now, but prepare. Not yet, but refine. The impatient man takes delay personally. He interprets it as failure. He throws his tools to the ground. He curses the sky and walks away. But the wise man, the patient man, receives delay as instruction. He understands that timing is a language, and delay is how life teaches him to strengthen what is weak. Delay is not punishment, it is preparation. It is the universe's way of asking you, are you truly ready to hold what you've asked for? Why are delays so powerful? Because they reveal what you didn't know you lacked. They expose the cracks in your foundation. They test your character when the applause is gone and the lights are off. They force you to confront your blind spots, your laziness, your excuses. And in that pressure, in that silence, you have two choices: collapse or grow. You see, if success arrives too soon, it often slips through your fingers. You may get the opportunity, but not the endurance, the platform, but not the preparation, the title, but not the wisdom to carry its weight. And without that inner strength, what looked like a blessing becomes a burden. But when success arrives on time, after your development, then it fits. Not loosely, not forcefully, but like a tailored suit. Like armor, it protects you instead of crushing you, because you have become the man who can sustain what he has received. Picture this. You are building a bridge across a powerful river. You're eager. You want to walk across. But instead of measuring carefully, you rush the job. You skip steps. You cut corners. The first storm arrives, and the bridge collapses. All your effort gone. But if you take your time, study the current, test the support beams, choose the right wood, you build something stronger. You build something that doesn't just carry you, it carries others. It becomes a structure others rely on. And that's the reward of honoring the delay. So ask yourself, are you seeing delay as punishment or as preparation? When something doesn't happen right away, do you retreat into frustration or do you refocus and go deeper? Do you stop showing up or do you use the pause to sharpen your mind, strengthen your body, and clarify your path? The man who uses delay to deepen his foundation becomes unshakable. He is not thrown by disappointment. He is not broken by waiting because he understands that every extra day is a gift, a moment to become better than